The high-density lipoprotein is regarded as being good because what it does is that it carries away the bad cholesterol from wherever it is in the body in excess, carries it to the liver for the liver to dispose it off out of the body. And that is why the high-density lipoprotein is considered as being the good cholesterol. Now let's talk about fats. We have the unsaturated fats, which is considered to be the good fats. We have the saturated fats and then the trans fats, which is regarded as being bad. Trans fat is regarded as being bad because it increases the level of the bad cholesterol in the body and reduces the level of the good cholesterol. So it increases the bad and reduces the good. And so when this bad cholesterol continues to accumulate in the body, especially in the arteries, we all know what it results into, considering what we discussed about the types of cholesterol earlier. And so that is one major reason why trans fat is bad, even if we consume it in small quantity. It has the potential and every capability to increase the risk of the development of heart diseases. Another thing that trans fat does is that it contributes to insulin resistance in the body. It contributes to insulin resistance, and that can increase the risk of an individual to developing type 2 diabetes later on in life. Those are the reasons why trans fat is regarded as being bad, and we should try as much as possible to avoid them in our diet. Even though small amount of trans fat is present in meats and dairy products, it is the artificial trans fat that is considered to be dangerous because these trans fats are usually used to increase or extend the shelf life of many of these commercially baked products. And so sources of food that fall into this category of trans fat include commercially baked pastries, cookies, cakes, and then the fried foods such as French fries, fried chicken. And so we should try as much as possible to avoid this kind of fat. The next fat I want to talk about is the saturated fat. Saturated fat is not as harmful as trans fat because even though it increases the level of the bad cholesterol in the body, it doesn't reduce the level of the good cholesterol. But you know that if the bad cholesterol continues to be on the increase in the body, before you know it, this bad cholesterol will soon override the effect of the good cholesterol, and that can also lead to different heart diseases and conditions. And that is why saturated fats has been said by experts that we should consume them in moderation, usually to be less than 10% of our daily calorie intake. Examples of foods that fall into this category of the saturated fat include red meat such as beef, pork, chicken skin. Then we also have cooking oils such as the palm oil and the coconut oil, and also some dairy products such as milk, cheese, we have the butter, and then the ice cream. All these foods fall under the category of the saturated fat, and we should try as much as possible to limit them in our daily calorie intake. And now let me go to the juicy part of this discussion, which is the unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats are considered to be the very good fats, the best kind of fats you can consume, because they not only reduce the level of bad cholesterol in the body, they also increase the level of the good cholesterol. So they reduce the bad and increase the good. And you know what that means? Reduction in blood pressure, because there's no tendency of the narrowing of the arteries, so the blood has an easy passage to flow. So there's no increase in blood pressure, meaning no hypertension, and also some heart conditions are prevented. And so that makes it to be the very best kind of fat to consume. The sources of foods that fall into this category of unsaturated fats include the olive, the avocado, nuts, different kind of nuts such as almonds, the African walnuts, the peanuts, the cashew nuts. And then we have the soya bean. We also have fatty fishes such as salmon, tuna, and sardines. These are excellent sources of fat to consume. Cooking oil that fall into this excellent category of unsaturated fats include the olive oil and then the soya oil. So these two cooking oil, you can use it to substitute for excess of the palm oil and coconut oil that fall into the category of the saturated fat. Nutrition experts have said that about 20 to 35% of our daily calorie intake should come from fats, because fats are very, very important in the absorption of vitamins and minerals, especially the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. And so if these fats are not present in our body, our body will not be able to absorb these vitamins and minerals, and that means such an individual would be deficient in these nutrients, leading to some other forms of complications. So the take-home principle from this video, as we round up our discussion on fats and cholesterol, is that choose foods that have unsaturated fats, limit foods that have saturated fat, and try as much as possible to avoid foods that contains trans fats. Again, choose foods that contain the unsaturated good fats, limit foods that contains the saturated fats, and try as much as possible to avoid foods that contain the trans fats. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and also click on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any updates coming up on this channel. In our next video, we'll move on to another nutrient as we continue on our way to the consumption of a healthy diet. Until then, please stay healthy.